Welcome back, guys. Robert and I were engrossed in a conversation about the uninvestigation of Patton's accident, and I'm doing air quotes when I say accident. But there's no accident reports, which is odd because even the military, especially the Army, keeps records of everything. I mean, they have records of how many times their soldiers go to the bathroom, probably. So
That's right.
they keep logs of everything. It just doesn't make sense that there's no accident investigation into one of the most well-known, popular generals at the time, if not human being in the United States. You know, everybody loved him back here. So for them not to investigate it and to blow it off is incredible. And you even found out that an Army investigator, he himself had tried to investigate it and was railroaded and blocked. And then he actually ended up fearing for his life. They threw him in jail on the order of Bill Donovan, the head of the OSS.
Yes, this brings in the OSS in a much more credible way. Brazada, the reason that I believe Brazada is, number one, he went on to become an aide in several administrations. He was an aide to the Secretary of the Navy. He's a very credible guy, in addition to being a very highly decorated Jedburgh and so on. This was not just some little guy saying this. And in the same vein, Stephen Skubik from the other side, who uncovered it because, as he was told to do, he was to liaison with the Ukrainians, who were, the Ukrainians had been part of the Soviet Union, but they have been enemies with Russia for since time immemorial. And the Russians did terrible things to the Ukrainians then. And so when the war ended, the Ukrainians were all ready to declare independence, and they subsequently became part of our spy network. And in the beginnings of this, Stephen Skubik, who had been born in Ohio and became a CIC agent. The CIC was sort of the Army's FBI. And he was liaisoning with these guys, and Stefan Bandera, one of their prime leaders, he told Skubik, he said, warn Patton that he's on the list, the NKVD list, to be assassinated. And then he heard it from two other, a general in the Ukrainian army, and also one of the Ukrainian university professors, all of whom he's dealing with all the time. So he began to take this to his bosses at the CIC, and they said, "Oh, good," and they brought him in to Wild Bill Donovan, the OSS head, who was in fact there at that time, and pardon me, and Donovan at first just told him to shut up. He said, "That's just those Ukrainians. They're just trying to screw things up for us." And when he persisted, they threw him in jail. And finally, when he got out of jail, he had to go home and stay undercover for over 2 or 3 years, because he was warned that he would be murdered because of what he knew. On the day of the accident, he tried to go there, and they wouldn't let him go, and so on. So both Brazada and Skubik are very, very credible witnesses. And by the way, Skubik went on to serve as an advisor in administrations, in presidential administrations, all the way to his death on Eastern affairs. These are two very, very credible witnesses. And with those reports, it wasn't only just an accident report. I know for sure of 5 of them. There probably were 8. At the time that Patton died, his own wife hired private investigators. She heard the stuff. She herself was suspicious of this. The private investigators were not able to penetrate, and likely so. This was a high-level thing. They apparently did not tell her that he was murdered, although nobody knows, because when I approached the Patton family, and then now I'm removed from the original thing. I'm dealing with granddaughters and grandsons. They wouldn't talk to me. They don't want to hear all this. And the reason they don't want to hear all this is you will not read this story anywhere else, because since World War II, our history has been written by liberal historians. That's who controls what gets into the history. And the liberal version of this has always been he was died in an accident, and that's it. There was no cover-up. And the reason, of course, we know, because if they dig into it too deeply, we find out why he died, because he was opposed to that administration. And in my estimation, they killed him. They assassinated him. And from the witness of these two guys. So the historians have never told this story. And you know, when you get to the current historians, all they're doing is they go back and they look at the records, and the records have been purged. There's nothing there. Why should they spend 10 more years digging this stuff out, which is what it took me to do, when they have this wonderful book already about his life? So they didn't do the job that they should have done. I'm attacked by one historian who wrote a wonderful book on Patton's life, but now he attacks me for what I do, because not on the basis of the facts, and if he'd read the book, he'd know that, although he might have read the book. He has a lot vested in this. And he gives a lot of speculation about that Bozzato was a nobody. What is he talking about? Bozzato's as good as he is, probably better. Bozzato has more medals than this guy has. And so that's the problem you're dealing with, is that our historians, just like the liberal media today, they are not telling you the truth, and it's been embedded. So we know those reports are gone. 1 or 2 would have been an accident, possibly. 5 to 8 is absolutely a cover-up, and I know that. Now, I had decided that one thing I could do that would be sort of almost going to the scene of the crime would be to go and look at the car, because it has always been advertised to be at the Patton Museum in Fort Knox. And I could go there, I could look inside, I could see where they said he bumped his head, I could see the blood in it. This would be as close as I could get, besides Patton's own writings, to the scene of the crime. And I got the head of Cadillac history at Detroit to go with me. And what the upshot was, that the car at the Patton Museum is not that car. It's a fake. And the reason we know that is, not only does he go around the car and point out the pieces of it, Patton's car was a 1938 75 is what they call it. The make is a 75. What's at the Patton Museum is a 39. And you can see, and we dug it out, you can see where the VIN number has been scraped away. The VIN number is scraped away. It has a body by Fisher before they were making the body sticker on it, and several other things. You read the book, you will see what we mean. That car is a fake. Now, why is the car a fake?
Hang out right there, Robert.
Okay.
I'll have you pick up on the car on the other side of the break. And guys, this is important because this is a key thing. This is evidence. I'm doing air quotes again. We'll be right back.
Grown man cry, or a child that's slowly dying. Have you looked inside to see all that you can see? And I am North and South Dakota, in New York City. I am everything.